right now, somewhere inside your abdomen. There are fat cells that have been locked shut for years. Not days, not weeks, years, packed tightly around your liver, your kidneys, your intestines, loaded with stored energy your body has never been allowed to touch. They are not locked because your body does not want to burn them. They are locked because one hormone has been keeping the door sealed every single time you eat. That hormone is insulin. And the only key that unlocks those fat cells is the absence of food. In the next 16 hours, if you stop eating right now, something extraordinary begins happening inside your body, hour by hour, cell by cell, organ by organ. Today I go inside your visceral fat and show you exactly what happens. Every hour, every mechanism, every transformation. And by hour 16, your body will be doing something it may not have done in years. But before I start the clock, I want to be honest with you about something. The most dangerous fat in your body is not the fat you can pinch. It is the fat you cannot see, packed around your organs right now. And the research coming out of Harvard Medical School and the NIH confirms that 16 hours without food unlocks a biological process most Americans over 50 have never experienced. This is BodySimplified. Every week I go inside a different organ or biological system and show you what is actually happening. And more importantly, exactly what you can do about it starting tonight. If you are not subscribed yet, hit that button right now. This is exactly the channel your body needs you to find. And before we start the clock, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me, have you ever tried fasting? And what happened? Tell me below, because by the end of this video, you will understand exactly what was happening inside your fat cells every hour you did not eat. Now, let us start the clock. Before we start the clock, you need to understand what we are actually dealing with. There are two types of fat in your body. Subcutaneous fat, the fat sitting just under your skin that you can grab with your fingers. And visceral fat, the fat packed deep inside your abdominal cavity, wrapping around your liver, your kidneys, your pancreas, and your intestines. These are not the same substance. Subcutaneous fat is storage, uncomfortable, cosmetically frustrating, but relatively metabolically quiet. Visceral fat is a biological weapon your body turned on itself. The CDC reports that over 40% of American adults carry dangerous levels of visceral fat, most of them with no visible warning signs. Visceral fat actively secretes inflammatory cytokines directly into your portal vein, which feeds straight into your liver. It drives insulin resistance. It accelerates cardiovascular disease. It promotes cognitive decline. It is not just stored energy. It is an active inflammatory organ sitting inside your abdomen. And 16 hours of fasting directly and specifically targets this fat above every other fat depot in your body. Here is why. Visceral fat has the highest density of hormone-sensitive lipase receptors in your entire body. Hormone-sensitive lipase is the enzyme that breaks down stored fat and releases it as fuel. When insulin drops, hormone-sensitive lipase activates, and visceral fat responds first, fastest, and most dramatically. This is not theory. This is the biology your 16-hour fast is about to trigger. Subcutaneous fat sits in the hypodermis layer directly beneath the skin surface. It provides insulation, cushioning, and slow-release energy storage. Its inflammatory output is minimal, and its metabolic impact is relatively low. Visceral fat occupies the peritoneal cavity, the space surrounding your abdominal organs. It has direct portal vein drainage, meaning everything it secretes reaches your liver within seconds. Visceral fat produces interleukin-6, tumor necrosis factor alpha, and resistin continuously. These cytokines drive systemic insulin resistance, hepatic inflammation, and cardiovascular plaque formation. The NIH classifies visceral fat accumulation as an independent risk factor for type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and all-cause mortality. Visceral fat responds to fasting faster than any other fat depot because of its superior hormone-sensitive lipase receptor density. 16 hours of fasting specifically and disproportionately reduces visceral fat, not subcutaneous fat. This is why fasting produces visible waistline reduction faster than any calorie-restricted diet. The clock starts the moment you finish your last meal, hours 0 to 4. Your digestive system is still processing. Your stomach is breaking down proteins and carbohydrates. Glucose is entering your bloodstream steadily. Your pancreas is releasing insulin to manage the glucose load. And here is the critical fact that changes everything. Insulin is a one-way valve. When insulin is circulating, energy flows into your cells and into your fat cells. It is biologically impossible for energy to flow out of your fat cells while insulin is present. Your visceral fat cells are locked vaults right now. Every attempt your body makes to access stored fat is blocked at the cellular level. Think of your fat cells like a bank vault. Insulin is the time lock. It does not matter how desperately your body needs the money. Until the time lock expires, the vault stays sealed. Most Americans eat their last meal between 8 and 10 p.m. By midnight, insulin is still circulating, the vault is still locked, nothing is burning, everything is storing. This is the metabolic state most people over 50 live in permanently. Insulin binds to insulin receptors on fat cell membranes, activating GLUT4 glucose transporter proteins. GLUT4 opens channels, allowing glucose to flood into fat cells for conversion to triglycerides. Simultaneously, insulin activates lipoprotein lipase, pulling additional triglycerides from the bloodstream into fat cells. Insulin directly suppresses hormone-sensitive lipase, the fat release enzyme, by up to 90%. With hormone-sensitive lipase suppressed, stored triglycerides cannot be broken down or released. The fat cell is in full storage mode. No release is possible regardless of energy deficit. After a standard American meal, insulin remains elevated for 3 to 5 hours. After a high carbohydrate evening meal, insulin can remain elevated for up to 6 hours. This means the earliest your body can begin accessing stored fat after dinner is 3 to 6 hours later. For most Americans eating at 8 p.m., fat burning cannot begin until 1 to 2 a.m. at the earliest, and only if they do not eat again before then. Hour 4 to 8, something begins changing. Your last meal is fully digested. No new glucose is entering your bloodstream. Blood sugar begins dropping toward its natural fasting baseline. Your pancreas detects this and reduces insulin output. Insulin levels in your bloodstream begin their first real decline. Your liver notices. It opens its glycogen reserves, stored sugar packed away from your last meal. It begins releasing glucose steadily to keep your blood sugar stable. This process is called glycogenolysis. Your liver is essentially spending its savings account. Your visceral fat cells are still locked, but the lock is beginning to weaken. Hormone-sensitive lipase, the fat release enzyme, is starting to wake up. It cannot fully activate yet. Insulin is still present, just declining. But the biological machinery for fat burning is warming up. Think of it like a car engine that has been cold for hours. You cannot floor the accelerator yet, but the engine is turning over. This is the stage most people never reach, because they eat a snack or drink a sweetened beverage and reset the entire clock back to hour 0. Every time you eat between meals, you are locking your fat cells again. Every time. Without exception, after 4 hours of fasting, hepatic glycogen breakdown begins in earnest. The liver contains approximately 100 grams of glycogen, enough to maintain blood glucose for 6 to 8 hours. Glycogen phosphorylase enzyme breaks glycogen chains into glucose 1-phosphate units. These are converted to glucose and released into the bloodstream via GLUT2 transporters. As blood glucose stabilizes through glycogenolysis, pancreatic insulin secretion decreases. Falling insulin allows partial de-inhibition of hormone-sensitive lipase in adipose tissue. Adipose tissue begins showing early signs of lipolytic activity, but full activation requires further insulin decline. Glucagon, insulin's opposing hormone, begins rising as insulin falls. Glucagon signals both the liver and fat cells that energy mobilization is required. This glucagon rise is the biological signal that the fat-burning transition is approaching. Hour 8. Something significant just happened. Insulin has dropped to its true fasting baseline. The time lock on your fat cells has expired. Hormone-sensitive lipase, the enzyme your fat cells have been waiting for, fully activates. It begins breaking down the triglyceride molecules stored inside your visceral fat cells. Each triglyceride molecule splits into 3 fatty acid chains and 1 glycerol molecule. The fatty acids flood out of your fat cells into your bloodstream. Your liver catches them and begins converting them into a usable energy source. For the first time in hours, possibly days, your visceral fat is releasing stored energy. The vault is open. A landmark 2016 study from the University of Illinois confirmed that 8 hours of fasting produces measurable reductions in visceral fat lipid content, independent of total caloric intake, meaning your body is specifically targeting visceral fat, not muscle, not subcutaneous fat, because visceral fat hormone-sensitive lipase responds faster and more powerfully than any other depot. By hour 12, your liver glycogen is critically depleted. Your body is now running almost entirely on fatty acids from your visceral fat. This is the metabolic state the Harvard School of Public Health describes as the single most powerful non-pharmacological intervention for visceral adiposity available to adults over 50. At hour 8 of fasting, plasma insulin drops below the threshold for hormone-sensitive lipase inhibition. Hormone-sensitive lipase activates through protein kinase, a phosphorylation, a direct response to glucagon signaling. Triglycerides inside visceral fat cells undergo lipolysis breakdown into free fatty acids and glycerol. Free fatty acids enter the bloodstream bound to albumin transported to liver and muscle for oxidation. In the liver, free fatty acids enter beta oxidation, generating acetyl-CoA for energy production. Excess acetyl-CoA is converted to ketone bodies, acetoacetate, and beta-hydroxybutyrate. These ketones circulate as clean fuel for the brain and other glucose-dependent tissues. Visceral fat responds to lipolytic signals 3 to 4 times faster than subcutaneous fat due to superior beta-adrenergic and hormone-sensitive lipase receptor density. This selectivity means 16-hour fasting reduces waist circumference faster than equivalent caloric restriction. Hour 12. And something begins that most people have never heard of. Something that goes far beyond fat burning. Your glycogen stores are now critically depleted. Your cells have been running on fatty acids for hours. And now, they activate the most powerful cellular repair mechanism in the human body. It is called autophagy. Autophagy eating. Your cells begin eating themselves. Not randomly, surgically. They identify damaged proteins, dysfunctional mitochondria, viral particles, misfolded cellular debris. They wrap these structures in a membrane called an autophagosome and dissolve them, recycling the components into fresh building materials. This is your body's deepest cleaning cycle. Dr. Yoshinori Osumi won the 2016 Nobel Prize in Physiology specifically for discovering the mechanisms of autophagy. His research confirmed that autophagy is the primary cellular defense against aging, neurodegeneration, and cancer. And it only activates when your cells are deprived of incoming nutrients. When you eat constantly throughout the day, autophagy never turns on. The cellular trash never gets taken out. Hour 12 is when the cleaning crew finally arrives. And the longer you stay in this state, the deeper the clean. Autophagy initiation requires depletion of intracellular amino acid pools and reduction of mTOR complex 1 activity. mTOR, the master growth regulator, is activated by food intake and suppressed by fasting. When mTOR is suppressed, ULK1 kinase activates, initiating autophagosome formation. The autophagosome membrane engulfs cytoplasmic cargo, damaged organelles, misfolded proteins, pathogens. Autophagosomes fuse with lysosomes, acid-filled organelles that dissolve the cargo. Degradation products, amino acids, fatty acids, nucleotides are recycled back into the cell. Research from the Mayo Clinic confirms that autophagy activity correlates inversely with age-related disease incidence. After 50, basal autophagy declines by up to 40%, contributing directly to accelerated cellular aging. Fasting-induced autophagy compensates for this age-related decline, restoring cellular cleaning capacity. 12 to 16 hours of fasting consistently induces measurable autophagy in liver and muscle tissue. Hour 14. You are approaching the peak of what your biology can do. Your visceral fat cells have been releasing fatty acids for 6 hours. Your liver has been converting those fatty acids into ketones for 4 hours. Your brain is running on ketone fuel. And something remarkable is happening up there. The mental fog that most Americans over 50 have normalized as aging lifts. Ketones cross the blood-brain barrier more efficiently than glucose. They produce more ATP per molecule with less oxidative waste. Your neurons are firing on the cleanest fuel your body can produce. Simultaneously, growth hormone is surging. Studies from the NIH show that 16-hour fasting increases growth hormone secretion by up to 1,300% in men and up to 2,000% in women. Growth hormone is your body's most powerful fat-burning and muscle-preserving hormone. It is mobilizing fat from storage, protecting every gram of muscle tissue you have, and driving cellular repair throughout your entire body. Hour 16. You have reached the state your body was biologically designed to operate in. Not starving, optimized. Every system is running on its own stored fuel. Every cell is cleaning itself. Every fat depot, especially your visceral fat, is actively shrinking. This is not a diet. This is your biology finally doing what it was always capable of. Hour 0 to 4. Digestion active. Insulin elevated. Fat cells locked. Glycogen storing. Hour 4 to 8. Blood sugar normalizing. Insulin declining. Liver glycogen mobilizing. Fat cell lock weakening. Hour 8. Insulin baseline reached. Hormone-sensitive lipase fully activated. Visceral fat begins releasing. Hour 10. Liver glycogen critically depleted. Fatty acid oxidation primary fuel source. Ketone production beginning. Hour 12. Glycogen exhausted. Full ketosis established. Autophagy activating in liver and muscle tissue. Hour 14. Growth hormone rising sharply. Visceral fat lipolysis at peak rate. Brain running on ketones. Hour 16. Peak fat burning state. Maximum growth hormone. Deep autophagy active. Visceral fat at maximum release rate. Every hour past 16 compounds these benefits, but 16 hours is the minimum threshold for full activation of all mechanisms. The CDC notes that Americans who maintain consistent overnight fasting windows show measurably lower visceral fat indices than those who eat late and eat early. Here is exactly how to implement this starting tonight. The simplest 16-hour fasting window for most Americans over 50 is this. Finish your last meal by 7 p.m. Do not eat again until 11 a.m. the next morning. That is 16 hours. 7 p.m. to 11 a.m. You are asleep for 8 of those hours. You feel the fast for only 8 hours while awake. During the fasting window, you can drink water, black coffee, plain tea, and sparkling water. Nothing that triggers an insulin response. No milk, no sweeteners, no juice. Break your fast at 11 a.m. with protein first. Wild-caught salmon, eggs, grass-fed beef, Greek yogurt. Protein at your first meal stabilizes blood sugar, extends the fat-burning state, and protects the muscle growth hormone worked all night to preserve. Do not break your fast with carbohydrates. Fruit juice, toast, cereal, granola. These spike insulin immediately. Lock your fat cells again and end the fat-burning window abruptly. Consistency is everything. One 16-hour fast produces measurable but small effects. 7 consecutive 16-hour fasts produce visible waistline reduction. 30 days of consistent 16-hour fasting produces measurable reductions in visceral fat indices, confirmed by MRI scanning in multiple peer-reviewed studies from American research institutions. Your body does not need you to suffer. It needs you to give it a window to do what it already knows how to do. Your visceral fat has been waiting for this window for years. Not because your body forgot how to burn it, because you never stopped eating long enough to let it. Every meal resets the clock. Every snack locks the vault. 16 hours of not eating gives your biology permission to do what it has always been capable of. Insulin drops. The lock opens. Visceral fat releases. Autophagy activates. Cells clean themselves. Growth hormone surges. Muscle is preserved. Fat is mobilized. None of this costs money. None of this requires equipment. It requires one decision made at 7 p.m. every night. Stop eating and let your body do the rest. The comment I want you to answer right now is this. What is stopping you from trying a 16-hour fast tonight? Fear, hunger, habit, confusion? Tell me below, because your answer tells me exactly which mechanism I need to explain next. If this video showed you that your body already knows how to burn visceral fat, it just needs the window to do it. Subscribe. Every single week, I go inside a different biological system and show you the mechanism your doctor never explained. Next week, I am going inside your metabolism itself. I will show you exactly what happens to your metabolic rate when you walk for just 30 minutes every single morning. The changes begin in the first 7 minutes, and most of them are completely invisible from the outside. Hit subscribe so you do not miss it. Hit the bell so YouTube actually delivers it to you. And if you know someone over 50 who has tried everything to lose belly fat and nothing is working, send them this video right now. The problem was never what they were eating. It was when they stopped. I will see you in the next one.